Welcome back to Animal World, our co-inhabitants, where we have been looking at the treatment of fish raised on intensive factory farms. Let's now expose more about the inhumane methodologies involved to produce fish for human consumption. On fish farms, due to the crowded and unhygienic conditions, the fish are rife with disease and infection. Salmon suffer from infectious salmon anemia, ISA, which causes agonizing internal bleeding. And there is some evidence that it can also affect humans who consume the fish. Furthermore, 40% of such fish may suffer from blindness due to cataracts. The huge amounts of excrement they generate also pollutes and destroys the local environment and greatly affects the local wild fish populations. In the West Highlands of Scotland alone, fish farms produce 11,000 tons of waste per year, which is the same amount produced by a city of 10 million people. This waste also causes vegetation to grow and may produce algal blooms and dead zones. To deal with these problems, more chemicals, including herbicides, disinfectants, antibiotics, and hormones, among others, are given to the fish, making them even more ill. Farmed fish are usually fed a diet high in oils and fats, which includes other dead fish, in an attempt to fatten them up and thus make them more profitable. Most farms also use a system of grading to separate the smaller fish from the larger ones. This process involves a machine that sucks the animals up through a pipe, which then shoots them over a grill with bars that have different gap sizes. The fish fall from the appropriate gaps and are then flushed into a separate tank. This process may occur up to 5 times during a fish's life, and apart from anxiety, also causes bruises, broken bones, and damage to their delicate scales and gills. Biotechnology and genetic modification are also widely utilized to get the fish to grow fatter and at a faster rate. Therefore, their biological systems and internal organs cannot keep up with the exaggerated growth, and they suffer problems similar to broiler chickens, turkeys, and other factory-farmed animals. Additionally, salmon are fed pigments to make the color of their flesh pink, and thus appealing to consumers. However, commonly used pigments, such as canthaxanthin, are known to be cancer-causing agents. Fish are also mutilated for identification purposes by the clipping of fins or the use of tags, which pierce the skin and flesh. When fish reach the required weight, they are transported for slaughter. Prior to transport, they are starved from 2 to 10 days to ensure that they do not contaminate the transport water. The fish are sucked up through a vacuum machine and dumped into a transport vehicle. Being on a moving truck in darkness, confined, and starving with low oxygen levels is too much for some fish that inevitably die from these appalling conditions. There is little regulation for the slaughter of fish. Therefore, the most crude and cruel forms of killing are used to maximize profits. Larger fish are first hit on the head with a wooden club called a priest, and the gills, essentially the fish's lungs, are cut in order to bleed them out. Some fish may be stunned by immersion in water saturated with carbon dioxide. Once submerged, the fish writhe and thrash in agony while trying to escape. After 30 seconds, the fish are immobile, and it takes about 4 to 5 minutes for them to lose consciousness. Thus, many are still fully conscious when slaughtered, and while their gills are cut open and their internal organs removed. On many occasions, the fish have their gills cut with no prior stunning, causing extreme pain and trauma to the animal, as can be seen by their attempts to escape and their consequent convulsions. Other methods include passing an electrical current through the holding tank, which often causes spinal fractures and hemorrhaging. This is repeated if the current was insufficient. Another common practice, especially with smaller fish, is suffocation. With this method, the water is drained away and the fish are left gasping for air. Another cruel practice, which is also widely used, is asphyxiation on ice, whereby the fish are packed fully live and conscious into bins containing ice and left to suffocate and freeze to death. Studies have shown that fish killed by suffocation on ice can still feel what is happening to them 15 minutes after they have been buried alive. It is clear that fish have feelings and are fully sentient. So how can we stop this cruelty to our finite co-inhabitants? The simple answer is to adopt a compassionate plant-based diet free from any animal products. Many vegetarian alternatives to fish exist, which taste great and do not involve the cruel torture of these intelligent beings, nor do they burden the resources and environment of our beautiful planet. Thank you for your blessed company today on Animal World, Our Co-Inhabitants. Coming up next is enlightening entertainment, right after noteworthy news, here on Supreme Master Television. Let us all lead compassionate lifestyles in harmony with nature.